Alright, here we go. Gonna work on the viaduct. Here's the initial concept mock-up with the pieces that I cut, or that Bill Schauf helped me cut. We went down to his place. This is, again, roughly what it's going to look like. Now, of course, the Masonite will have a brick veneer, or actually a stone paper over it. Anyway, I'll cover that when I get to it. You can see the 3D printed stairs that my friend got for me. Thanks, Bob. And they're going to come down so folks can come on down into the high bay area without having to walk all the way around the buildings. Railings, they're sitting there right now. That's not how they're actually going to sit. I'm going to try to organize them a little bit better. Sidewalks, and then a road obviously down the center of it. So that's the concept. I'm going to put this thing together, and hopefully it's not that long a project. I just need to get the pieces glued together. And I'll try to do this holding the camera. Other things are going to fall all over the place, but basically all it's going to be, alright, so the stairs will go in probably over on the layout actually. And if I take away, pardon me as I move in, these are from Rick's, these are the railings. Piece of strip wood to bring over. Blairline sidewalks. And then I'll just kind of see if this front piece will come off here. If I move the weights, I should hopefully be able to. Boom, okay. It fell down, but there we go. So that's how I'll build the structure of it, with those pieces of 1x in there, and that'll give me room up above to do the wiring, because I'm going to have signals here, 2 Pennsy position light signals on the cool looking bracket, lights across the road. So my thought is I'll get this all glued together, be able to turn it upside down. So if I have the railings on and stuff, I might have to, and the lights, I might have to, put like a 2x in there to bring it up a little bit so I don't break anything. But I want to be able to do all the wiring, especially for the signals, those damn little wires, and all the other lights that are going to need to have their leads extended. And again, probably come back and try to do most of the wiring back in here. I'm not sure. I might or might not have that in there. I probably need it. But I want somewhere from the underside where I can wire it relatively easily. And again, I might not even need this. And then, again, bring one lead down for the lights, and then bring all the leads down for the signals. I don't know if I'm going to put my shim cards up here or down on the layout. I'll cover that when I get to it. Just want to kind of show the rough idea that's in me head for now. So more to come as we get really one of the last major projects done. So at least I hope so. But all right, more to come. Alright, real quick look at the plan, just to show that I actually did think about this a little bit. So up top is kind of a view down through the viaduct, and what I'm going to use are basically cross pieces are going to be 1x6s cut to the right height. On the side I'll be 1/8 Masonite, the top, the bed for the road, 1/8 Masonite, maybe some supports inside it. I have it kind of figured out for the Blairline sidewalk, a piece to go here, and then the Rick's railing to go on. The dimensions aren't really important. That's just what I was noodling around with. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. The road will go right on top, and then just the sidewalk and everything else will kind of sandwich that in. And then looking through the viaduct from the from the side, these are where those 1x6 supports are going to run. Again, this is going to be the shape of the Masonite that I'm going to cut out. This is going to be freestanding. I'll glue it in later, but I did kind of measure things based on the layout, and I'll confirm all this before I actually go too far along. So I do have some things measured out. I want to put street lights on it, so I have a little area there where I'll drill and hopefully bring street lights through. So that at least is the thought process behind what I'm going to do. Of course, as you know, usual with me, things may change. But for now, that's at least the little hand sketch thing that I drew up to kind of get me guided along. And I do have like 4 or 5 other sheets of paper with all of the dimensions to actually cut as best as I can determine for when I go down to bills to cut everything up. So that's the plan. So let's hope it works out okay. Alright, Viaduct's finally going together. So I got it kind of figured out how I want to do this. And it was funny, I was sitting here, oh, should I do it? What am I going to do? What if it's wrong? I was like, look, shut up and do it. Because you go through life analyzing everything and never get anything done, or just do it. If I make a mistake, I'll fix it. You know what I mean? If I glue something wrong, I'll rip it off. If I really screw up, I'll go to bills and cut more lumber. But this damn thing's not going to get done if I don't do it. So I got the one side down, that's the outside piece, and then I have my in-between supports. A little bit of weight on it for now. I'm going to let it sit for about a half hour just to set up. And those 1, 2, 3 blocks are just sitting there. They want to be part of the action, so they're just kind of helping make sure things are square. And then when this, like I said, when this sets up for about a half hour or so, I'm going to take the other side piece, which I probably won't be able to show you in entirety because I'm holding the camera here. Maybe I can do this. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take the weights off. I'm going to put some glue on the other side of the cross pieces, set this on, put the weights back on, and then let it sit overnight. So we're getting there. So then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be able to figure. Well, the one thing I'm really noodling over, and I haven't figured out yet, is how I'm going to do the wiring for the signals. And I'll show that in a bit because it won't make sense right now. But anyway, this is underway, and tomorrow when I get it done, I can set it up. I can show you what I'm thinking about for the signals and the lights. So that's going to be wired. All that's going to be wired, and it's not going to be fun. So, all right, more to come on that. Well, the next segment. Alrighty, here we have the Viaduct pretty much glued together in the form it's going to be. I went ahead and decided to add a couple longitudinal runners here in here. That's a little bit of a gap, and I noticed when I put the top on it sagged just a little bit in here, and I threw it in here just because I had I have the 3/8 square dowels and don't really need it. So it's fairly sturdy, and what I'm going to do now is glue the top part on, flip it over, and I'm going to do a little bit of shenanigans over here. What I'm hoping is going to work. My concern is I'm going to have a pair of Pennsy position light signals mounted here on the Viaduct. Well, they're custom made, and they're, you know, I paid handsomely. Well, shouldn't say that. I paid for them. And with anything, if something goes wrong, I'd like to be able to get it off without having to destroy much. So I'm going to try to make this basically a hatch that I can remove from the bottom. I'm not planning to set or to glue this in on the layout, just let it set there. So if I ever need to, and I certainly hope I don't, but I could always bring the Viaduct over here, turn it over. Probably I'm going to have to brace it up on some 2x because it's going to have the signals sitting there, and I think street lights. I probably will. So, but if I do that, I'll be able to take out, I'm thinking some number 4 screws. I got some blocks, so here's some wood residuary I got ready to go. I'll show that when I get it all done. But the hope is that if I ever need to, and again, I hope I don't, I can bring it over, turn it over, flip it, take the hatch off, and then get these signals off in case something ever happens to them. It won't be fun. I'm not going to enjoy it, but at least I can get to them. Because if I glue it all together, it's glued, and you're doing some crazy cutting or slicing or dicing to get to it. So, all right. More to come as I get this turned over, and we'll see how she looks when it's ready for the stone. I'll cover the stonework I'm going to use later on. Alright, welcome to the seedy underbelly of the viaduct. Just figured I'd cover this briefly, what I'm trying to do here. It's all together. I have done a test fit and layout. May need to do some shimming, but we'll see. But not a big deal. I think that's because of the bench work and the foam and everything, not because of the viaduct. It's pretty dead level. But that's another story. Alright, so what I'm doing now, I need to figure out what to do here and here. These are the underside of the open areas. And what I decided to do is a couple things here. In this section here, this is where the signals are going to mount on the viaduct. There's two sets. Oh yeah, they're over here. Let me do a quick little spin just to show these. So that's the signals are going to mount on the viaduct. I think it's going to look pretty dang cool. Alright, anyway. Sorry for that little side drone. Back to the issue at hand. So my concern is, A, they're signals, and you may at some point want to take them off, fix them, replace an LED, I don't know. If I just glue them on here, glue this on, I'm never getting to them. Because once this is, glued together, it's going to be pretty seriously glued together. So, you know how glue is, it's pretty darn serious stuff. My thought is, alright, so I'm going to bring the wires in, all those tiny darn little 30 gauge wires from Integrated Signal Systems. I like to use these shim cards. They're nice. They have a little terminal block for the tiny wires to come in. I can add resistors right to the board, and then you connect to the cables going back to the CMRI boards. I was going to put them all in here, and then have a piece here. I'm going to screw it in with probably some number 4 screws. So if I ever need to, because the viaduct won't be glued to the layout, it'll just be sitting there. I could carefully lift it up, bring it back over here, take the screws out, pop this little hatch off, and I'll show you that, and then do what I had to do. But then I thought, no, I don't want to put these cards here. Because if I ever want to adjust a resistor or anything like that, it's just, having them here is a real pain. I want these underneath the layout. Alright, so these bad boys are going to come out of here and be under the layout. And what I bought for in here, which I don't have yet, basically a strip board, a breadboard with strips. And I did purchase from DigiKey these same nice little connectors. I have 8 of them, 4 and 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a breadboard. I'm going to put 4 sets across here, bring the signals in, breadboard, it's all connected, it's all, continuous. Another set of 8 or 4 across here, and then bring in my 24 gauge 8C 24 gauge conductors into here to connect them, and then bring these out through here. Oh, sorry, a little too fast. Under the layout, and then I'll go to these mounted underneath the layout. So if I ever need to do any adjustments, it's much easier under the layout getting this board off as opposed to taking this off back to the bench and flip. Okay, anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so that's going to come, hopefully before too long. So like I said, the hatch for this is basically just another piece of Masonite that was cut. My main man, Bill Scholf, helped me cut this. And then what I decided to do, to dress it up a little bit, just, I don't know, why not? You can see I painted it and I put some of the Plastruct 5/32 H columns. They're probably a little bit too big, but I figured, okay, they're support for the roadway. So this hatch will basically fit in here. It's a little snug. I might do a little final sanding. That sets right in there, and then right back here, I'll just drill some holes and put some number 4 pan head screws in there. Paint them black, be fine. Over on this side, when I'm done, because I will be running wires through here for the street lights, I have another hatch, same thing. That's just going to sit in there. I'm just going to glue that in, because I'll try to do everything in this area here that's removable. So that's my plan for the underbelly. And then That'll look, you know, I mean, it'll kind of dress up a little bit. Not that people are going to be crawling under there looking to see what's there. I probably could have just painted it black, but you know what? I got a ton of this Plastruct H column. I might as well use it. What the heck? Didn't take long. You can see it's just kind of dotted on there with some super glue. Took it out, gave it a blast of Panzer Gray. Bada boom, bada bang. We're ready to go. I've also been playing a little bit with the material I'm going to use. This may not show up all that great. I don't know how this will look on the camera. This is the material for the stone. I like it. I bought it off eBay. I'll put a link for it. This stuff came from like Hungary. Took 6 weeks to get, but it's pretty nice. And what I wanted to do was I took a drop piece out and I mounted it to the Masonite because I want to see how the adhesive works. You know, will it stick? And it seems to stick pretty darn good. And then the weird colors here, I was just playing with some of the acrylic washes. See what happens if I put a wash on this. You know, will it hold up okay? Will the adhesive soften? I'm just playing. These colors are horribly ugly. I just splashed stuff on there. Then I tried some of the ammo MIG pigments just to see what it looks like on a small test piece before I actually do it to the whatever's on the Viaduct. So I'm playing with that. It looks like it's going to work out fairly well. I'll show more on that once I get to that. So that's where we are now. Oh, quick zoom back. So progress being made. Now it's time, I think. Again, since these are going to go in later, because I do all the wiring, I do have the roadways, sidewalks to go on. I have the railings all painted. I'm working on the stairs set, working that. So a lot more coming. So let me get back to work and film an update when events warrant. Alrighty, in progress here, putting the stone siding on, or the stone sheets. You can see I got part of them on there. I got the back part done. I do have the in-betweenst ones done as well. And I have that outer end done. It's actually working fairly well. I'll try to leave information on this material. I forget exactly where. I mean, I was on eBay, but I'll dig up what I bought. This is the sheet. This sheet is adhesive backed. That's what I'm using now. Peels off nice, and the adhesive seems to work very well, at least on the bare wood and on the Masonite. I also did buy, or they also offer, I did buy, non-backed. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but there is a nice texture to it, a nice 3D. It's not like a 2D print. It's 3D printed. That's not what I mean, but it has relief to it. So it actually looks fairly nice. Now, though, I did have to join it. There's a joint running right down here. But again, the way you're going to view this, it's rather hard to see. And I'm thinking I'm impressed so far. It's looking really good. I put it on. I did leave things overhang a little bit. And for example, hold on here. I'm going to scoochy. Sorry. I would love to hang here, and then come in with a nice new, real sharp X-Acto blade, and just trimmed it right off. Worked very, very well. So far, very happy with it. Good stuff. So now I'm just going to finish up in here, cut the pieces I need. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. Anyway, there's different ways you can do it. I'm trying to minimize the number of joints I may have, but I don't like cutting all kinds of weird angles. I might just cut pieces, put it in, done. Because the joints do seem to blend together fairly well. So not terribly concerned about it. Alright, so there we go. More to come when she's all done. Alright, there we go. Got the stone on. I gotta say, it looks pretty darn good. I did the best I could to hide the joints. There has a couple, although actually looking at from back here a ways, it's hard to see. But there are a couple places where I didn't get it quite perfect. But again, overall, and I doubt you can even see it. I don't know if I can. I'm kind of losing them from back here. I think there's one right about there. I don't know if it'll show up. Again, that was a piece I had to match on both sides. So, yeah, so you know what? I can't really see it. Sorry as I laugh and shake the camera, but all right, that's it. And then of course now we're going to come in, going to dress up around the openings, around the corners with 1/8 inch channel. That's been painted and it's drying up. So I'll get that glued in there with some canopy glue. That'll kind of dress that up. And then it's time to work on the top. I can't go too terribly far because I still need to put my electrical connectors down underneath there. But I can probably get the road, sidewalk, and other things on because that'll still lay flat if I turn it over. I'm not sure I want to put the railings on and add the lights, and I might drill the holes for the lights. But that's coming up next, so there you go. I like it. I really like the way that looks. Alright, more to come. Alrighty, a little more in-process noodleage here. I do have the trim around the openings. Probably in real life they probably wouldn't do that, but I'm doing it because it helps hide the edges. Kind of sets it off a little bit. I like the way it looks, so I'm okay. I gotta come in and weather it and whatnot. And what I'm doing now, I did get the road on, and I used the same manufacturer that I bought this stuff from, the stone. I bought this road, and it's okay. I kind of goofed up. I got some lines in it. I tried to overlap them and cut them straight, and hoping it would hide, the lines, because you can't make it one continuous piece. So, all right, I'll noodle around with that and weather things a little bit. Crosswalk is for where the stairs are on this other side going down. So I figured I'd put crosswalks there. It came with it, so I just kind of laid it in there. That way people can come up and saunter across the road and head on home. And when they're walking in this way, boom, and down on the other side of the road. So now what I'm playing with, I probably should have brought this up a wee bit higher. Because when I put my spacing stick, which I think this is 032 by 094, to go there, and then the sidewalk comes in. I want that set right. Of course you can't even see because I'm not even pointing the camera at it. So that's where the sidewalk is going to sit. And then of course the Rick's railing will mount on top of that. That's got a little indent there for it. And I'm trying to see how far I want to bring it in. It's kind of hard to do this. Hold the camera and hold this here to try to hide the fact that I didn't bring that stone quite far enough. But if I can even overlap it just a little bit, it's really hard to tell. There's a shadow underneath it. I mean, unless you're really going to get low and look up there and go, geez, Rob, you're a complete moron. I'm not sure that's going to be visible from the layout, the way you're going to look at it, because you'll be looking at it more from a top-down angle. So I may be okay. I may be over-analyzing this. But what I want to do now is get these strip pieces in and glued down. Get the sidewalks in and glued down. And let that set up. And then probably figure out, before I mount these, figure out where I want to put the street lights. I kind of have a rough measurement. I'm not sure yet. I'll cover that next time, or the next segment, or whenever I get to it. And then I really need to wait and get the electronics, the stuff under here, installed, so I can mount the signals and everything. And then, because I was thinking if I did that, I could turn it over the way it is now, because it would rest on this just fine, turned over. I'm not sure I want to rest on the railings. So the railings almost have to be the last thing that goes on. So I still need to think about how, in what order to do certain things. Who's on first and all that kind of good stuff. But we're getting there. So alright, more to come. So I slog away at this thing. Alright. Time to make some calls and get moving. So I decided to go ahead and get my one piece of strip wood glued in. That's kind of a spacer from the sidewalks out to the Rick's railings. Actually, the railings are going to mount to this. And I was going back and forth because I cut this a little bit too short. I really should have waited, but I waited to put it in until I knew where the railings were going to sit. Anyway, my mistake. But I think I'll be okay. So I made a call, put these in. The sidewalks will go in after that. I can't put the railings in because I gotta wait till I wire things. But I can go ahead and drill the holes for the street lights. Gonna get them in, maybe do some preliminary wiring with that stuff because they all need resistors, of course. Drill the holes for the position light signals. See how they're gonna do. Figure out how I'm gonna cut the railings because I do have the stairs on the other side. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with that and actually how I'm gonna cut them along the whole length of it. And then I'll kind of be at a holding point until I get my breadboard in and I can actually do the wiring up of the signals. But that's okay. That shouldn't be too long. So there it is. So more to come as we get this done. We'll show it with the sidewalks on and whatnot. That's kind of the next major thing to get done. It'll look pretty good, I think. I hope. And we'll keep plugging away at it. Like I said, I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to stop until I can do the wiring. But that's okay. There's plenty more to do elsewhere on the layout. So I won't be bored, that's for sure. All right, more to come. Okay, we're getting close now. This thing is really starting to come together. I have the stairs done. As you can see, they're just kind of sitting there right now. And I'm no mason, but I figured out I put the stone on it and did a little bit with the cap. Run up the stairs. I'm not saying it's perfect. Again, I'm not a mason, but I like the way it looks. It's going to look pretty good. I have everything pretty much down now, ready for the railings, and you can see there's two of the lights I'm going to put in. What I decided to do, you can see they're a nice Westinghouse blue color. I found a color that's close. It's not right, but it's close enough. I like the way it looks. So I went ahead and painted the 8 street lights. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah. A little blue color for Westinghouse. And it kind of matches, and I think I might have mentioned the on this road piece that I got, the center line's a little bit too orange. But here's the story. You know, this is not a public road. It's private coming in, and Westinghouse decided to, you know, since it's kind of a blue and orange scheme, they painted the street lights blue, and they went with a little orangish line down the center. Let people know they're coming to work at Westinghouse. So you can see I got some details on there. I did a little bit of trying to hide the joints. Added some cracks. Added a couple manhole covers. Weather things up with a little bit of chalk. Try to blend things a little bit. Did add some drains along the side, 3 along each side. Weathered them up a little bit. I'm still deciding if I want to add something on the other side as a as a drainage pipe to bring all that stuff down to ground level. I imagine they'd have something like that, but we shall see. So, like I said, the stairs are still loose, but again, many thanks to Bob for helping me out getting those 3D printed. That came together really nice. I really like the way that looks. What I need to do now is just take this over to the layout quick, and maybe I'll go ahead and show that. I need to get the final position for the position light signals, which I do have. Slow pan over here, and they're all untangled and everything's run loose in the back with all those darn wires. You can see I got to get the 4 holes drilled, 2 for the wires, 2 for the I-beams. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. I have everything figured out. I'm gonna do it. I still haven't got my strip board, so I still can't wire it yet, but hopefully that comes soon. That's one of those bad experiences, I think, with the U.S. Post Office. But what I'll do real quick now is I'll just kind of flip it and show you what I did for the wiring underneath, and then do a test fit and a layout, and come back over, and I might go ahead and start getting the lights in, because I gotta actually drill the holes. I'm nervous, but I gotta do it for the position lights. Get all those wires carefully run through. So, all right, let me just tip this baby over, and we'll see the seedy underbelly again. All right, here we go. The earthquake came and tipped over the viaduct. You see, I have the wires run. We're going to come down, so I have my lead just kind of coiled up. I ran them in. I know it's probably not really just to see, but I did went ahead and I went ahead and and solder on the resistors off the positive bus. They're going to be for the positive lead on the street lights, and the black will be the negative lead. And I run it through the holes. I added some cleats there to try to keep everything neat. There's those two resistors for those two sets of lights. And ditto. More resistors there on that set and on that set. Now I may be able to actually do the street lights with it laying on its side like this. But for the actual position light signals, and they're going to come in roughly where the two red marks are. I got to verify that. You know where they're going to come in, and then I got to get the strip board in there, bring all those wires and the wire everything, and keep it all neat and not interfere with my streetlight bus and everything. So I don't know if I can do that on its side like this. I may have to actually lay it on its which I can do now because there's nothing on top, right? Yeah, okay. It'll be a lot easier to work it like that. Now maybe I can, again, I might not have to put something down lengthwise. I may put a couple boards across the ends just to elevate it, so when the street lights are in, obviously I don't want to turn it over and smash them, because that would aggravate me. Alright, so that's that. Again, might be next. I do a test fit. I gotta figure out where to drill for the position light signals. Then I can go ahead and get the street lights in. Although I really need to get that strip board in, because that's going to kind of figure out, or kind of, you know, guide how I run the wires and everything. So I wish that would come, so I can get this going. But all right, more to come as we make some progress here. Okay, doing a little test fitting here on the layout. You can see I'm going to have to shim those stairs quite a bit, but that's okay. Working things out. I got the squares on there to help me mark the location where I'm going to want to position the position lights. So that will be fun to work on, because you know, once I get that on and the street lights on, you got to be real careful. But they got to go on some point in time, and I'm going to do it at the bench and not over here. So things are looking okay. Like I say, I'm going to have to shim the base of that quite a bit, and a lot of it'll be covered, but that's definitely higher than I thought. Yeah, it's nice and flat over at the bench, but not here. It doesn't matter at the bench, it matters over here. So, and I do want to make this, I'm going to detail this area up. That's kind of like the weld. I'm going to call it the weld spot. That's where they will pull out, that's a three-phase OCB sitting there now, but they'll pull out units from the high bay, bring them over here, kind of out of the way, and that's where they'll do the welding. So I have a couple little shacks and maybe some welding machines and toolboxes and generators and compressors and all kinds of fun stuff just to detail that area up. And then probably some kind of walkway as well on the other side, obviously from the stairs. I mean, the whole point of the stairs is to get down to the factory level, and then a little bit of a walk. And since it's up so high, I might just make it out of that task board and make it concrete, and then run it along over to the over to here, where the folks can get on into the factory and get on into work. Alright, so far things are looking pretty good. Let me just do a pause, and I'll move the tripod over to the other side of the the other side and take a look. Okay, we broke on through to the other side. So here's how things are looking from this side, and I did want to get this nice large car here. Let's give it a, make sure it's gonna, this corner's close, but it clears. I don't know if they got some close clearance signs for in there, but it does clear. So that's encouraging. And then as I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but I can see what I'm going to want to do. Back where it hits the backdrop, it's not the greatest. It's really not even well done at all. But those two vans sitting there, I might just get some paint and paint over them, because it looks kind of shelly. I mean, it really looks dumb. that gap right there, I have some of that stone material, but I just have to cut a piece and put that back in. But overall, it's starting to take shape. So now it's a matter of getting, like I say, you have to get all the... Oh, one thing I was thinking about, what I may do, you know, out here, I don't know if I want to paint it the same color as the fascia, or I might, you know, trim it in some angle just to dress it up a wee bit, and maybe put like a little Westinghouse sign on there or something like that, just for fun. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, this happens to a lot of folks. When you come to the edge of the layout, you got to do something. I mean, in theory, this thing continues on a little bit until it matches up with the main road. But that's where we are. So, all right, we're getting closer to getting this puppy on the layout. And so far, it is meeting and or exceeding my expectations. All right, more to come as we get this thing ready to go on the layout. Oh boy, we got us a mounted signal. So I was able to drill the holes, and after fiddling about 4 times, putting them in and out, which was not fun, because all these little wires, I had to, anyway, it was not fun. But eventually got the holes the right size, everything fit in, it fits nice and snug. Not too snug, just right. So I don't even have to glue it in. And I'm not going to. It's there, it's not going to fall. Again, it's got the 2 holes for the tubes for the wires and the signals, and that's got H-beams or I-beams on the outside, so it's not going anywhere. The only thing I had to do was I did kind of bump this railing on the inside as I was playing around with it, as careful as I was trying to be. It popped off a little bit, so I just put a little dab of super glue there to hold it. But then now I'm not going to even look at it cross-eyed. But it did bring up another problem. Again, this is Rob Bennett not planning. So my plan was, again, to use the, let's see if I can do this with the Rick's railings. And they mount right on that little piece I put there. But, if I can show this and not be too wobbly. I can't even see if that's showing. Basically, I can't do that because the signals are too close to the viaduct now. Okay, not the end of the world. What I'll probably do, it'll mean I'll probably have to kind of reevaluate the cuts that I already had for this, because I assumed I was going to come right behind it. And I have to have a cut here for the stairs to come up. I'll recut this stuff, maybe end it somewhere, wherever it kind of makes sense, where I can make it look okay, like that. And then I have this little bit here where I can put some like the Pennsylvania Railroad railing behind it. I'll probably have a ladder coming up, so maybe a piece of railing, the ladder coming out, another piece of railing, the metal railing, the Pennsylvania railing stuff that from the stanchions that I think Tichy makes. And then on the other side, again, wherever it kind of falls, although the issue I'm going to have, as you can see, is between here, where the stairs come up, and going over to the signal. It's 2 of these sections is too much. So I might have to put 1 in, and that's about what the gap would look like, because I think that this edge here kind of lines up with the stairs that come up. If I cut somewhere in there, that's going to leave that more of an opening that I think would be there. But you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. I'll add the railing. It's not like people are going to come up here and be leaping off this to their early demise. So that's what I'm going to have to do, something like that. So I'm going to have to reevaluate how I cut these. I hope I have enough and didn't. Anyway, okay. So, but it's on. Now, I didn't really want to put it in just yet, but once I started drilling the holes and setting it in there and doing it 4 times, I'm like, it's going on. It's got to go on. I can't keep putting these wires in and out. I risk, damaging them, nicking them, scraping insulation somewhere that I don't see. If that happens and wires are touching somewhere in there, you're hosed. You're never going to find it. You have to rip everything off and separate everything and get some nail polish or whatever. It'd be a nightmare. So, anywho, that's it. They're on. That's where they're staying. What I'm probably going to go ahead and do now is maybe get the street lights in, which I keep saying I'm going to do. I really need to do that. Because now it doesn't matter. I mean, now I have to be careful no matter what I do. So I might as well get the street lights on and get them wired. And as soon as that darn board comes in, I can get these all hooked up and pray none of those wires got nicked. Like I say, you be as careful as you can. But those wires are small and fragile, and they'll twist over each other, and they'll kink and get a knot in it. It's like, argh! All right. But that's what it is. So I think it's going to be, I'm happy. I like it. I think it's going to look pretty cool, especially when it's all lit up and everything. And you have a Pennsy J1 coming up there to hit up to the into staging. It'd be fun. All right, enough babbling. Let's get some more work done and try to get this darn thing done and finished and on the layout and move on to other fun stuff. Okay, making some progress here. So I have, let's say, the position lights are on, the street lights are on, the street lights are wired. They all work. Did test that. I just went through and tested all the signals again. Oh, nerve-wracking, because if something happens now, I'm in deep doo-doo. But everything's good. So I took the occasion to mark everything. Now that I can mark, top right, top left, bottom left, so they're all marked. So the installation underneath, again, there's going to be no soldering. It's just going to be putting those, well, I have to solder the little terminal boards onto the strip boards, which I still don't freaking have, because they've been sitting at a USPS partner facility for the last 7 days. Oh, you know what? I got so mad I went ahead and ordered some additional boards from somebody else, because I can't wait for these idiots. And it's weird, just as a tangent here, the USPS, I'm not anti-USPS. They actually do, I think, a fairly good job given the limitations and the situation they're in and have been in. But it seems coming out of Chicago, at least coming out of Chicago, coming to the east, to me, the eastern part, it's unbelievable how things just seem to disappear and never ship, and then they do show up. But I've waited for a couple things that there's a hobby shop in Chicago. It literally took 6 weeks. It went somewhere. The tracking showed it sitting there, and it sat for 4 weeks. I don't understand it. Anyway, so I'm going to really be at a stop point soon just because of that darn thing. But I ordered another one. It's supposed to be here Monday, 2 days from now, so we'll see. All right, so back on topic here. Sorry about that. So I added a little run over here of some conduit. Figured, hey, there's signals, and there's no way I'm going to put the relay, boxes and whatnot here on the bridge. So that's some conduit. Bring the cables down. Over here, I'll put the relay boxes, battery boxes, and that kind of fun stuff. I just figured they'd do something like that. It seemed like it. It's not the straightest, but it looks okay. I did add a ladder there, again coming up to the sidewalk, so the maintenance guys, signal maintainers can hop onto the bracket there. Now, like I said, it's not quite right. The way the railing's sitting here on the bridge is about where they're going to be, lined up with the stairs coming in, so I have that gap. And what I did for that, allow me to pan a little bit. Well, actually, maybe I can just bring these in here. What I did, like I said, I took some, these are probably going to be really hard to see. I don't know if I have a white background, they'll show up. Anyway, they're Titchy Pennsylvania Railroad railings with some 015 wire in between them. That's the way I did it. And they call for 020 up top, 015 on the bottom, but I didn't. I made it all 015. Anyway, so they're each set to be roughly half the distance from here to the ladder, from here to the ladder. So hopefully I'll be able to drill holes, get those installed, and it'll at least look like, not a huge open spot where people can just kind of run in there and bungee jump off of this, although I wouldn't recommend bungee jumping off this viaduct. So that's where we are. I may go ahead and get the railings in. So I'm getting bored. I want to keep working on this. I was going to try to keep them off just because it's a little bit easier when I flip the viaduct if the railing's not on. If it's on, I still can do it. It's going to be a little bit more careful. But, I'm sitting here looking at this thing like I'm going to glue the railings on because I want to. I want to get things moved along here. All right. Okay, so at least the signals work. Again, I tested all those. That's a big relief. let's forge ahead here. Let me get these railings on, and then I really will be at a stop point. But all right, more to come. Okay, I got the railings on. That was a little bit of an adventure. I went ahead and used some Gorilla Gel super glue, which is good stuff. It set up a little quicker than I was hoping. I was hoping with the gel stuff I might have, 25, 30 seconds to finagle in case I was off a little bit. Of course I was. But it's on. It's done. So I went ahead and did that. Did a little bit of touch up here and there. Here you can see the drains I added for the storm water on this side. I figured they'd come down on one side. The other side can't really do much because I got the stairs and everything. So, and then get this. As soon as I'm done, I go up for coffee, come back down there. It's like this dude's walking across the viaduct. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm done working. I'm going home. I'm like, all right. And then Cletus runs up. Check this wacko out. He's like, hey, boss, this looks great. I'm going to drop and give you 50. Like, Cletus, first of all, get off. And second of all, how'd you get up there? All right. You can see I'm getting bored. So this is pretty much at a point where I have to stop. I got to wait now for the strip boards to come in so I can do all the, solder the terminal boards on and get all the wires on for the signals. So I'm just going to set this back, wait. I'm not going to fiddle with it. I don't want to, well, I probably will fiddle with things, but you know me. But that's it. That's pretty much how it's going to look. Once it's on the layout, it's not going to change a whole lot. I'm not sure who will or will not be walking across it when I put it on. That's it. So more to come. Gotta get that darn board in. Frustration. All right. Anyway, more to come. Getting close, guys. I know that this video is getting long, like they tend to do, but won't be much longer until this puppy's done. Well, here we are doing the final testing of the mess I made inside. Oh, those little wires are such a PITA. P-I-T-A, and I hope you know what that means. Pain in the... Alright, anyway, so you can see on the right there, I cut my strip board down. I have my terminals soldered in. I have the wires coming in that are going to run down to the resistor boards. Again, these are just straight connections, and they're about all the itty-bitty wires in here. Oh, that was easy. Actually went fairly well. Until at about 9:30 last night, when I'm just about to finish up testing. What I did to test. Oh, I also have the... I don't know if I showed that. That shows up. Right here are all the commons. They are all soldered together to one 5-volt lead that comes in. So that runs down also. So to test them, very simple matter. Just got my Logic Rail Technologies LED tester. Brought the 5 volts in. You can see it's set up for a common anode. And then you just take the wires from all the signalies, since they're all connected now. And I just sit here, and then one by one, you just take the appropriate color. I'll try to do this while holding. This isn't easy, holding the camera in one hand and trying to talk, and then trying to... because I want to get the clear signal. Just, I don't know why, it doesn't really matter, but alright, so then you come in here and you touch it to the thing and boom, that's our clear. Now I know the center isn't lined up, that's its own LED now because that's the way he did it. So you go through all that, test them all, make sure they all work, and they all did, except for some reason, and this is just my luck, and it literally was like on one of the last things I tested. On this signal head, when the top, I'll call it red, the two horizontal LEDs are on, the bottom, restricting, these LEDs were on at the same time. And it was literally 9:30 at night. I was not in a mood. And I tried doing a couple things. I literally pulled out all these wires from the terminal board, so nothing was connected. And when I put the wire in for this, which is a blue, the bottom one still went on. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? So what it means is the wires were touching somewhere. It has to be. I mean, these aren't magic signals. So so I fooled around a little bit, tried clearing the wires. But again, there's only so much you can do. I mean, these little darn things are just everywhere, and I want to be careful because I don't want to introduce, more problems. Eventually, I wiggled things and it cleared up. Now, my concern is, and know my luck, this is exactly what's going to happen. It'll be fine here. I'm going to put the seal on, seal it, test it again, turn it over, test it again. If everything works, I'm just going to say it's good for the layout. I guarantee you, as soon as I get over in the layout, and the first thing I'll do is I'll set it, I'll drop these through and test it again, and the problem will come back. I just know my luck. Or that, or, a month from now, or when I have my first operating session, everything will be fine and behaving itself until I have friends over to run trains and oh, good Lord. So that's why I am not gluing this one on. This is glued on. The only thing in there were street lights, and they work fine, so I'm not too worried about gluing that on. This one I'm not, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to put all these down. I'm going to put the hatch on, screw it in, test everything, turn it over, because I don't like leaving it upside down like this. It just makes me nervous. Test it again, and I'm telling you, they're probably going to be fine. It literally will be a month from now or something like that, just out of the blue, I don't know, something will happen. I'll get an earthquake, and 2 damn wires will touch inside there again, and I can't do much. I literally separated all the wires all the way out. I can't get into here, because I really don't want to mess things up, which is perhaps where it is. And if it is, I'm not going to get to it. So, all right, so we're going to button things up, go on a wing and a prayer, and see how it looks. All right, got it turned over. Everything seemed to behave itself. So, I said, if there's a problem, gee, I can't hold the camera. Yeah, sorry. It'll be with this one. And just imagine the center. For some reason, all the lights won't light up with the tester, but there's my clear signal, clear for install. So now, it's just time to carefully get it over to the layout and get it placed. Of course, test it again, and hope that these don't act up on me, but everything's done. You won't be able to see, but I have the plates mounted. Street lights all work. I tested those again. So, all right, let's get this bad boy on a layout and hope it doesn't misbehave on me. All right, here we are. It's installed. Wires are dropped. I got to wire them up yet. I'm going to do that. I just want to get a quick shot here of it sitting in place. You can see the center there. I have the shims for that, which is actually going to be a piece of, well, of course the stairs fit initially coming down, and then I'm going to have some concrete. It's going to run along here and actually run all the way up to the high bay. All right, so that's coming. That's drying up right now. It's painted. I need to let it dry, do some weathering on it, and then get that glued down before the stairs go in. That'll go underneath that and help level that all off. Signals are in, and man, I hope they work when I turn them, when I get them wired up and installed. Let's just do a quick pause and look at the other side. Alright, here it is from the other side of the viaduct. Sitting in place. I do have a shim. It's probably hard to see, but it's back under the back side. Under here. I'm just going to let it sit there. The whole viaduct is just going to sit there. I'm not going to glue it in. Okay, again, just in case I ever, not that I ever want to, but in case I have to pull it off for the signals or something like that. I did cut in the back piece of that stone wall. That's been installed back there. Kind of an ugly joint and everything like that, but the other silos, which are sitting over there, are going to sit right there, which is going to block a lot of that, so I'm not too worried about it. And as you can see, I did paint out those vehicles. Yeah, that color gray looks okay. It's not great. I mean, I really should have done a whole better job if I had any forethought. Tying in the backdrop. It's terrible, but it is what it is. It's not going to affect the running of the trains. So that's it. All right, so now I need to get everything wired up, hooked up. Decide I want to switch to the lights on the viaduct individually. I mean, not by light, but that's a separate circuit. on a separate switch. Alright, so we'll come back when it's all done and I can wrap this up. Alright, this may be a little wobbly. I'm going to try to just show real quick. This is the wiring for the signals. I got the 2 wires that come in from the Viaduct to this side of the shim card from Integrated Signal Systems. All the resistors are soldered on. And on this side, they're the wires that go back to the CMRI board, which is underneath Eugene Yard. I brought in 5 volts and ground. Then this is the 5 volt common that runs up to the Viaduct and ground. This little brown wire I was using to test it. I tested all the signals, they work. I did have the intermittent issue with this blue wire, which is the stop aspect for the top head and restricting, which is the orange-white for the bottom. You know what's weird? I jiggled the signals very carefully. It went away. It's going to be something I'm going to live with, but it's probably something inside the signal itself, you know, inside the bracket assembly of the tube, and I can't get to that. I'm not going to try to rip that off. I don't feel like taking it off, sending it back to Tim to fix it. I'm just going to deal with it. Hopefully it stays away. But if it comes back, I kind of know what to do to fix it. So, alright, so that's that. Again, all the signals were tested. Everything works good. What I'll probably do back at the CMRI board, what I can then do, you can see the 4 terminals are grounded. They're the centers on the top because they're always on. Back on the CMRI board, I can then ground the blues, the blue for the top, which is the red. So it'll, at least when it comes on for now, until I get the program done, it'll display a stop indication. Yeah, just something. So, all right, let's pop up and take a look at it and see what things look like up top. All right, there it is, done. Like I said, I got the signals okay, minus the intermittent issue, but it went away. Street lights are wired and they work. The stairs are they're just going to sit there, but they're where they're going to be. And I think, as I mentioned, there's the concrete pad, or the concrete path, I guess I'll call it. It runs back to the high bay. I'm thinking of putting a little guard shack there. You know, maybe a little sign, welcome to Westinghouse, or employee entrance only, or something like that. And then back here, of course, we get back to the high bay, and that's where they can walk on. And then I got the for the gantry, I did go ahead and add, I don't know how well it's going to show, I added the hoist. It's all the way up because if I put a mobile unit under there, I don't want that to be hanging into it. So that's just sitting there. I just use some 010 wire for the for the wires, cables down to the hook. I purposely brought it up high. There's a little spreader beam there. So that way it's up out of the way, and it's just sitting there so I can move that as needed. So now, well, I'll take a quick look at the other side just for the sake of completeness, I guess. So like I said, that's the factory area there. I got to work on that. That's next. There's all the detailing, maybe weather up the concrete. Looks a little bit too clean to me, so maybe I'll do some weathering on that. But the viaduct is done and in. So, alright, one quick look from the other side, then we are done, and finally done. He says. Okay, there it is. Like I said, the other side. I did go ahead. I painted this the same color as this, and I actually have some Westinghouse blue trim, maybe to fix that up, but you know, whatever. We'll get to that. As I said, as you can see, the lights are on. There's a car coming across. And the other thing I did, which I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in enough to show it, but I added the stairs that come down from that escape. It isn't perfect, but it looks okay. Now, let me see if I can change the that shows it any better. But so they're there. So come out there for a smoke break probably, and then they can always escape down to the sidewalk. Again, it doesn't fit exactly the way I want it to, but it's so far back there, to be honest, in the overall scheme of things, no one's ever going to notice. Of course, if you guys come see the layout, you'll go, hey, those stairs aren't right. And I'll smack you in the head and say, just go run your train, please. Okay, so that's the viaduct. What's next? Real quick. Alright, so the other thing I want to get done is all this area over here. like I said, those silos are going to be they're going to go here, and then I'm going to scratch build a building. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long. These damn rabbit holes. But that's because I want to use Shorty's building, which really shouldn't be here, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to build something in between. Again, some process happens. Might try to incorporate the smokestack and then come up through Shorty's building and then down to those cars are just there. I wanted to see how many cars I could fit on that tail track. That was just kind of playing around a little bit. I do have another building that I may pop right here. It's a Walther's kit. I think it's Allied Railcar Builders. I've always kind of liked the look of the building, so I actually have it done. I built it. So that might go here. But if I do that, of course, I got to move this track because the track goes inside the building. And I like buildings with tracks in them. I don't know why. I'm weird. All right, so this is the next area to get working. Like I said, I got to scratch build this building. The silos are pretty much done, weathered, ready to go in. If I get that other building in, then I can kind of get this side finished. And then for the other side, again, just as I mentioned, it's just a lot of detailing, maybe weathering the concrete over there because it does look kind of shiny. Getting a guard check in, getting some people, getting details. I have to work on out front here will be the tank farm. And I have the tanks all built. So a lot of stuff I have done. It's just a matter now of coming over and getting it installed. And now that I'm moving forward, it's a little bit easier to work. So still a lot to do, a lot of details, you know, gas cylinders and some dumpsters and peeps and welding machines, compressors, dunnage. But that's fun. I really enjoy that aspect of it. So, and then when a lot of that's done up here in front, you can see going up that little hill. I have the track for it. I just need to get it in, and there's going to be a coal trestle. Where right now, some of my scenery and tape measure and Sharpies are stored, but the coal trestle is going to go there. That's something I built in the old layout. Always liked it. Did some customization to it. So you know what? I'm going to use it. I know I probably wouldn't fit there, but again, I'm just trying to use stuff I already built. All right, so that's it. So that wraps up the main area of work for the factory and for the viaduct, and now it's onward and upward. So most of the other stuff will come as normal layout updates, as normal as I am, which is Abby normal. I don't know if I'm going to do a video on the scratch build of that build. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to video that. It's just I'm going to make it as simple as I can because I'm getting tired of. I'm getting kind of burned out of building stuff. I just want to get it in, get scenery going, and run some trains. All right, enough said. So thanks for watching. That's the viaduct installed, ready to go. So more to come. Thanks for watching. Thanks for slogging through these videos, and maybe we'll do a video next of some trains running just for some fun. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.